Alright, so we've looked very briefly at the first question, which is that we need to determine when the velocity is stationary. This is one of those things which isn't explicitly taught in this syllabus, but you need to know what words like stationary and constant and initial, origin, you need to know what they mean. So stationary means that our velocity is 0. So we let Vt equals 0 and we solve for t. Negative 30 equals negative 9.8 t. T equals negative 30 over negative 9.8. T equals about 3.1, probably, I'm guessing. What did you get? 3.06. 3.06, we're going to round to 3.1 seconds. That's good. You're right. 3.06 is appropriate. At what displacement is the rocket after 3 seconds? So what equation am I using? Displacement of what do I want to find? I want to find my displacement, I have a given time. So I want to find d of 3, which is just replacing the t with the number 3.
47.9.
47.9?
Yeah.
What, 47.9?
Meters.
Meters, very good. Make sure we've got our units. If we're given units in the question, it's expected that we return unit. At what time does the rocket hit the ground? So what does that mean? What do I need to do?
Let Vt equal 80.
Next question, I think. At what time does the rocket hit the ground? Well, I let dt equals 0. 0 equals negative 4.9 t squared plus 30t plus 2. I can't solve that in my head, so what do? Use solver or I graph it, and the answers are t equals what? 6.1.
No, 6.25.
25. There would have been two answers.
Wait, so we let dt removed.
0. Negative 2 is implying it's gone 2 meters below the ground.
Well, that's 2 minutes above the ground.
That's why I've got the plus 2.
But that's already in the original.
Wait, what?
Yeah. So when I've got the plus 2, when t equals 0, when t equals 0, my equation distance equals 2. So when my distance is 0, I'm on the ground. Because when my distance is 2, I'm 2 meters above the ground.
So that 2 would be there if it wasn't 2 minutes above.
Correct. So my t is equal to what?
That's so
6.25. You got something different you said? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You should have two answers. Negative.
Negative 6.25.
That's wrong.
No, 6.25 and a negative answer.
No, 6.25 is wrong.
What is the answer? 19?
Yeah.
And the other answer is?
Negative 0.
Well, not even that wrong.
Now, obviously, because it's a quadratic, if we think about this, it's going to start 2 meters above the ground, it's going to do this. That answer is not possible because it's a negative. We can't go back in time. A negative time's not possible. Wow. It hit the ground. It was at the ground 0.06 seconds before it was fired.
That's fair.
Okay? Doesn't make a lot of sense. At what time is the velocity and the acceleration? What time are they the same? Taylor, what should we do?
Let's Vt equal 80.
Very good. So Vt equals 80. I get negative 9.8 equals negative 9.8t plus 30. What should I do now?
Take the opposite.
Take the velocity to the acceleration side. So I get 0 equals 9.8t minus 39.8, correct?
Yep.
And then I would plus 39.8 to both sides, divide by 9.8, and I'd be left with t equals
4.06.
4.06 seconds. Am I done?
No.
What did the question ask? Oh no, that is what we. That's right. Sorry, yesterday I asked at what distance, so gave you guys an easier question. That's the answer. Okay, so you wouldn't get a question that is that long in an exam, but nothing wrong with us asking any one of those questions, and we may not scaffold you by saying acceleration, velocity, time. we might just give you that and say develop an expression for displacement, so you'd be expected to do that on your own.
So would there be flow-on questions like that one? We have to-
You might be asked to do a displacement, so I wouldn't give you all three. I'd say determine a displacement equation, for example, and then I might say, oh, what time does the rock hit the ground? And you'd have to go from there. Now, I want to emphasise that with this C, you have to go through the process. All I needed to do was to change, so for example, if my acceleration equation was negative 9.8 e to the power of t, let's just say that's what my acceleration equation was. If I integrate that, what does that become? Negative 9.8 e to the t, correct? It's got an initial velocity of 30, I've got a plus c obviously. So that's my velocity equation. My initial velocity of 30, what's my c value? What happens when t equals 0 here?
Becomes 1.
1.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get v of 0 equals 30. I'm running out of room here. 30 equals negative 9.8 plus c. What's my c value? 39.8. What do a lot of kids do when they see that question? They just go, that's 30. Job done. Cool? So, all well and good when we're dealing with our polynomials like that, because what happens when t is equal to 0? They cancel out completely. We have to be very careful when we're dealing with exponentials and what other function. What other function doesn't equal 0 when the inside equals 0? Trig, or what specifically, what trig function? Cos. Cos is a problem. So when cos is equal, when you got cos x and x equals 0, what does cos equal? 1. So that one catches out a lot of people. So make sure, even though it feels babyin like we're wasting time, go through the process. Thanks guys, you can keep going with those exercises.